Dragon review. That's right, folks, this is now a dragon reviewing channel. All we do is review dragons and just more and more dragons over time. That's all this channel is about. So today we're talking about the, I keep calling them Genesis dragons. They're not Genesis dragons. Where's my cool notepad? Progenitor dragons. There we go. Definitely not progenital dragons. Anyway, Progenitor Dragons. I'll call them that, I guess. I mean, that's what their official name actually is. So these were the, pretty well hyped up... wait, no hair touching. I swore to myself that I would stop touching my hair in videos. I just happened to have just watched it, and that is why... Okay, I will believe in myself, believe in the me that believes in you, and trust my hair to not be stupid and just stay there so I don't have to fix it anyway. So, Progenitor Dragons. My hands are glued to my feet. I mean, my legs. Yes. So, Progenitor Dragons are the kind of, Zeroth dragons, except, reversed. I already made a video on this, a whole, theory of what they could be in my premium collection wishlist, if you want to check that out. It's been pretty accurate so far. This is still pretty accurate, I would say, because I said that when they print the Genesis dragons, I think, or the Messiah dragons as I called them back then, they would have something that has to do with growth and making the game easier to advance, kind of growing the game plan, and all of these have the skill that as long as they're face up in the G zone, you stride for free, aka you're saving resources and you're growing and making your life easier, I guess, which is, kind of what these kind of god dragons are supposed to be, because the Zeroths are kind of the kind of Satan dragons, I guess, the ones that want to just end everything. So that part of my predictions has been pretty correct. I think I've been getting it pretty accurately. I only got some of the units right out of all my guesses. I got quite a few wrong, actually, but I got some right. That's all that counts. But we'll see if I get anything else correct. We still have that one missing grade 1 thing that we haven't found out about yet. But anyway, I need to stop wasting time. So, Progenitor Dragons, they were finally revealed. We got 2 of them from the last weekly Vanguard stream. And sorry, I'm just gonna take a little ship. This is not sponsored. So we got them from the last weekly stream, and in which Dr. O introduced the United Sanctuary one as well as the Dragon Empire one, which is pretty normal because when we got the Zeroth dragons, there were also... No, there weren't. What am I talking about? It was the Megalanica and the Dragon Empire one. We didn't get United Sanctuary until the very end. Okay, scratch that, I don't know what I'm saying. With these Progenitor Dragons, they all hold some kind of effect, and they also have that effect of they can be turned face up, and when they're face up in the G zone, then they make your stride for free. However, that doesn't count for ultimate stride. So if you want an ultimate stride, you still have to discard the same copy as your Vanguard, but if you want to stride normally, then you can just stride for free, which is quite good because I think for the people that are converting from standard or trying out premium with their standard decks, that's quite nice because they can just run that card and then they don't have to worry about investing into stride fodders. It's not really investing when they're 10, 15 cents each, but that's still just something to know. I think it makes it a bit easier maybe for the standard crew that are trying premium out. I don't know, that's just my little thought. But anyway, let's go on to the discussion. So my thoughts, this whole video I think is titled my thoughts on, not touching my hair. This whole video is titled my thoughts on Progenitor Dragons, and I think I've spent the last 3 minutes not talking about my thoughts. So my thoughts are, I think that these 2 already, we're still missing 3, but these 2 already a great addition to a lot of decks. I'm gonna go over some pros and cons here and there, but the general point is that they're a great addition for sure. They function in a lot of different ways for a lot of different decks, and their function differs in those decks depending on the grade 3s they run, the strides they have in their G zone, etc. And then on top of that, I think it's gonna make premium more diverse. It's gonna make it more complex. It's gonna also kind of level up a lot of the lower tier decks as well. So I think I don't know, if we think about decks that aren't Luard, Ange, and Azel and stuff like that, just a lot of decks should be getting a big boost out of just these cards, depending on what the last 3 are, obviously, but if you think about Tachikaze, I think it's already kind of going to be doing a bit better because it's going to be saving a card every turn from striding, and their first stride wasn't that amazing, so the new, was it Gilgal, I think, or Gilgar, the one for Dragon Empire is going to be a great addition for them as well. So now let's go over some of the pros and cons. I'm going to start off with the pros. So in my opinion, this is, one of the best things about it, as with any G-Zone edition, is that it's a new option. So whether it's for Shadow Paladin, or for Royal Paladin, or for Angel Feather, or for, you know, any of the Dark Dragon Empire clans, it's a great new option in terms of your stride, you know, your stride lineup, because whether it's like every stride is supposed to fill a different role, or like kind of like, you know, push you to a certain game plan, but so having this new option for a lot of decks, I mean, this goes without saying, it's obviously a great thing. Now, for the two, oh no, I touched my hair. For the two that we've seen, they will benefit some decks more than others. So for example, I would say the United Sanctuary one profits like Azel quite a lot, because they're already calling a lot of stuff from their hand, and, you know, sacrificing, like, calling down triggers and whatnot just to, like, push. So I think for them, like, they'll happily call down everything and draw 3. The only thing is that, because I think it's worded that you call as many as possible, you have to, like, over-call circles and whatnot. I think it's something like that. Not 200%, I mean, not 100% sure. I'm recording this pretty late, so if I'm saying a lot of dumb stuff, that's because it's pretty late. So I usually record pretty early in the morning. But anyway, so Azel, I think, likes this. And also Altmile also, I think, likes this. Only problem with Azel is that, like, Altmile can be searched, and so that's going to be a big part of my cons, but Altmile can be searched, Azel can be searched to ride, but he can't be searched to add to your hand. So that's slightly problematic. But then, you know, looking at stuff like Luard couldn't care less about this card. Like, for Luard, I think it's really not that important. I feel like maybe it's, like, in a situation, which almost never happens for Luard, in which it has, like, I don't know, barely any cards in hand, where you would actually want to call down everything that would go into this, but the effect doesn't benefit Luard too much, and the free stride especially doesn't benefit Luard too much, because Luard already strides for free because of Dragfall Luard. Like, it's just a really good card that kind of just, you know, fuels itself and gives you free strides and ultimate strides on top of that, so it's going to be played in Luard as a 1-of, I think, but it's not going to be played as, like, a 2-of even, as it would be in some other decks, you know, so that's one thing to know. I think, like, then thinking about Genesis, like, Genesis, does this really benefit that? Angels as well, like, does it really benefit Angels? Like, maybe a little bit, but not that much. I mean, it's just, like, striding for free, that's nice, but I feel like that whole effect of, like, oh, you need to, like, splash your whole hand onto your field and then draw 3, it's a little bit iffy, I think. So that's kind of my part where I think it's okay. Like, Azel will love it. Azel, I think, will run it as a 2-of, I would say. Like, you might even want to, you know, stride it more than once to that extent. But I don't think any of these, out of the 2 that we've had revealed so far, I don't think any of them should be played at more than 2 copies. Then looking at the Dragon Empire one, like, Nubatama doesn't really care because they already have good strides. It kind of goes against their game plan because that one has an Exculpate effect, and, you know, it's a really nice Exculpate effect. Like, don't get me wrong, the Dragon Empire one is really good because having Exculpate plus on-hit CC 5 or 6 is also pretty insane, and then the plus 10k buff for, like, no reason really is also really sweet. So I think that the Dragon Empire one is actually really nice, but, like, someone already mentioned this, it kind of goes against their game plan, you know, they kind of actually want, you know, like, I don't know, I feel like it's not as impactful in that sense, and, like, even then, like, Nubatama prefers to, like, first stride the Shira no Irinya or something, like, it's that kind of playstyle, but, like, Kagero, for example, which lacks a good first stride, like, their best first stride is, like, that, like, Orb Dragon rare, which is, like, you know, it's really not that great. Like, for Kagero, this is pretty good because they can also proc a lot of effects that are, like, when something goes to is retired or goes to the drop zone, you know, proc this and that effect, so I think for that it's really, really good. Narukami, to that extent, also likes this, and then I think Narukami already has a pretty alright first stride, but I mean, it's alright, let's say. And then, like, Tachikaze, as I said before, already also loves it. And yeah, as I said before, free first stride is obviously nice. It kind of confirms my theory too. But I think, you know, I jokingly posted this on Twitter that I was like, oh, maybe this will lead to Stride Fighters being cut, but I really don't think Stride Fighters will be cut, because Stride Fighters are still really important, because how reliably can you get 2 copies of your Vanguard in your hand if you're not playing Ange? Like, it really is. That's like my one concern, and we're going to get to the cons later, but that's the one concern where, like, I don't think Stride Fighters will be cut. If anything, they'll still be used to search for those copies to be able to do these strides, because that's the only real way that you can secure them. So that's worth to note. Then, I already mentioned this, but I don't think these 2, at least these 2, you know, maybe the Stargate, Megallanic, and Zoo ones will be better, or, like, you know, even more insane or something, but I don't think they should be spammed. I think it's going to be between 1 and 2 copies, maybe 3 if they're, like, exceptionally really good, but I don't really see it. Because, like, even the Dragon Empire one, it's good on first stride, but then after you've got your GB1 or like GB2 after, or GB3 after G-guarding, is it that necessary? I don't think so. So that's kind of my thought there. So that, and the last thing that, I mean, Solomon already mentioned this, you know, like I watched this video before writing my plan because I didn't want to just like repeat a bunch of stuff that he said, but it's really good that these cards don't try to be finishers. Like, they're really good as, well, the Dragon Empire one is really good as a first stride. The United Sanctuary one is good as a first stride for Azel. It's not really that amazing. Like, if you think it is, please do enlighten me, because maybe I'm just not seeing some kind of like insane interactions, but at least I don't see it as that of a great stride. But at least it's good that they're not trying to be finishers, and like they're not fighting for the Zeroth spot, because Zeroths are really the finishers. Like, the United Sanctuary one doesn't try to be Ultima, the Dragon Empire one doesn't try to be Drachma, and like that's good, because those are completely different cards for entirely different purposes. And my cat is on my pillow, and she is sick. Let me show you. Hello, meet my poor kitty. She got bitten by another cat in the shoulder, so she's sick like this, poor thing. Oh my god. Anyway, where were we? So that's kind of like it for the pros, and so now I'm gonna go over the cons. We're already kind of going far in time with this video, so I don't want to push too much more. The first thing I have written down here is that it's not that useful for some prominent decks. By this I mean like Luard, you know, it doesn't really need it. I feel like also Angels, like Angel Gizeh doesn't really need that either. I feel like a lot of decks don't really need the United Sanctuary one actually outside of Azel. That's kind of the point I'm trying to make here. OTT as well, like, they're gonna legit -7 themselves or something if they call their whole hand down. So I think it's pretty questionable in that sense. But then if we look at, for example, like Azel already said, it's great. But then, like, let's say in Dragon Empire, Nubatama doesn't really care about it. Kagero isn't that good in premium right now, neither is Narukami, so a lot of Dragon Empire clans are just kind of okay, so maybe this will be more useful, but the most prominent deck of Dragon Empire, Nubatama, is, you know, it doesn't care about this card as much. It's still going to be used though, but it's not just as prominent. Then the other thing is that it's easier to use for some clans than others. This kind of coincides with, well, I'll mention this later, but it's easier to use for some clans because like Anj just searches it, or like if you run like Melody or something, you can use the one pigtail girl to like search herself and then just like just try this immediately. So like we don't know the Megalanica one yet, but I wonder if it's going to be slightly worse just because Anj can abuse this. So that's a little bit annoying. And then again, this is also this goes with the problem of same cost as Vanguard. Like, for a lot of decks, it's going to be hard to secure that, especially for the V-Series based decks, like for Azel and for, like, a lot of, like, even dimensional robos will struggle to find, like, reliably find that same cost as Vanguard, so that's a slight problem in my opinion. That's kind of annoying, but at the same time, this kind of goes with what Sala mentioned, that, like, it might make the G-era decks more popular, because the G-era decks have Stride Fodders and they can use them. So like stuff like Victor can very reliably search out another Victor to just Ultimate Stride, well not Ultimate Stride, but pay the cost for Stride for the Progenitor Dragons on, you know, first Stride, and I think that's pretty good. But that takes me to my next point. The Stargate one needs to be pretty insane to live up to the likes of, like, favorite champ Victor, because that's an insane first Stride. Even in DP, X-Gallop is a really good first stride that, like, we do want to go into most of the time, and so is the Stargate one really going to be good enough to fill that niche? Like, even for Link Joker, like, if you're playing, I don't know, Messiahs, like, Integral first stride is also pretty good, so it's like, does it fill that niche? I think the same goes for Zoo as well, because for Zoo, you know, in Great Nature, you have Balaur, and, like, it really needs to be better than that. Like, that's an insane card. And then on top of that, like, Mega Colony has the Overwhelm, and like Overwhelm is also really insanely good. So it's kind of this question of like, do they really have to make those cards that good, or is it going to be like the United Sanctuary one where it's like it's an okay effect? It's for situations that your G-Zone doesn't deal with normally, or something like that. And then like it's just good because of the free stride. Like, is it going to be like that, or is it going to be actually just like really worth to first stride? Because that's the question that I'm asking right now. Like, are some of these worth first striding over the existing first strides? That's kind of the thing. Even in Gold, you could argue, like, oh, is this more worth than Helios? the answer is pretty much yes, but Helios does also get you to your Ultima faster too, so that's another thing to consider. So I feel like there's a lot of question marks, there's a lot of things for up to debate, so I want to take it to you guys. What do you think of the currently revealed Purgatory Dragons? These were some of my points, some of my thoughts, you know, here and there. It got a bit longer than I expected it to be, so I'm going to quickly edit this and then go to sleep because I have to wake up early tomorrow to talk about the new imaginary gift effects. I have to wake up at 5 for that. That's gonna be fun. But anyway, so let me know what you guys think. Please do let me know, because I am interested if there's any ideas or if you're thinking how this will affect your decks. I'm really excited to see the Stargate one, obviously. Zoo and Megalanica 2 as well. I mean, that makes sense, but the Stargate one is, you know, as always, my main focus, that's my main interest, and I really do want to see what it does, because it's going to be pretty interesting if they can actually live up to the likes of Favorite Champ Victor. Oh no, it's Winning Champ, isn't it? God, I always mix up the two. It is Winning Champ, I said Favorite, I'm sorry, it's supposed to be Winning, please don't roast me. I hope the people watching this waited till the end. So yeah, so those were my points. I'm excited for the Stargate one. Maybe I'll make a video when it's revealed, maybe not, I don't know. This video is longer than I thought, so I'll leave it at that. Do let me know your thoughts in the comments, check out the stuff in the description, and as always, I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.